My tip for someone wanting to be more sustainable in their daily lives is to get involved in something bigger than yourself. There are lots of tips out there on how to live a greener lifestyle, and those are great. But I think the way you really start making a difference is by connecting with other people and getting involved in a collective effort. This could be joining a campaigning group, volunteering at a local nature reserve, getting involved with a community allotment that's growing sustainable food, or perhaps even making art which communicates the issues to a wider audience.
Walking to work, which is not too hard to do in New York. It's not a very sprawling kind of city unless you live in a village outside of York. I live within York, so I try to walk or cycle, and I feel like that is a way to have an impact, to kind of do that on a regular basis. But I was reading recently that there's some plans to have electric buses in York, which would be good. So I think using public transport, and especially if you could become an electric bus, is good. And cutting down on air travel is important. Although I'm from the U.S. and I'm working here in Britain, so I do from time to time feel like I need to go back and visit relatives in the U.S. So I'm kind of in a situation where it's hard to kind of cut that back entirely. But it's important to at least try to cut back on air travel while it's in a situation where it's very carbon intensive.
You have 3 chances in a day to improve the health of the planet: your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Just reduce meat intake, and that can reduce your environmental footprint.
My top tip for someone wanting to be more sustainable in their daily lives is just to kind of look around them. So there's plenty of things we could do in the home, and I think every kind of action makes a difference. So that might be things like switching off lights that you're not using, unplugging chargers when you're not using them. But also I think there's broader things we can do around the home. So there's lots of actions we can take to make our houses more energy efficient. For example, there's often government grants or grants through energy companies that we can make use of to make, as I say, our homes more energy efficient. So we can both save money, but save energy as well.
My advice to any one person that wanted to make their own life environmentally less damaging and more sustainable would be to better educate yourself through reading articles, listening to blogs, watching documentaries, because the more informed you are about how your life and your day-to-day activities impact the environment and the climate, then you can understand what you can do better to improve and reduce the environmental impact that you have on our planet.
My top tip for someone wanting to be more sustainable would be that because the changes that we need are societal changes, the biggest power that you have is in how you use your voice, in how you use your money, and in how you use your vote. So I would say that the biggest changes you can make for a sustainable future come in thinking about how you use those 3 sources of power.
My top tip to help people to be more sustainable in their daily lives is to think before you buy. Do you really need it? And if you do, is there a more sustainable way of purchasing it? Or could you borrow it from one of your friends?
Really think about consumption. Do you really need to buy that thing? If you think back to the reduce, reuse, recycle mantra, recycle is right at the end. Reduce is what you need to do first. Reduce what you're consuming. Reuse what you're consuming. And then if you can't do any of that, then recycle the things that you buy.